heading out in he's under this bridge near this shipwrights um, workshop,
Yeah. By
and
the way, this is all invoking the fugitive too, like jumping under a waterfall, hiding
yeah,
under a bridge.
yeah. No, I know. I wonder if that is deliberate. If someone just if
It's
one of the writers
pretty
really
sure
liked it.
pretty sure it's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's one of the most copied things.
Hmm.
I don't even know if Fugitive did it first. Come to think of it, they got it from somewhere.
But that's where we know it from. Like that, I think
Yeah.
that's what maybe more popularized it. Um, and I will say, like this actor here, um, playing how do you say his name? It's like Saradan or something like that. Or
Yeah, Sir. I have Sir Dan. Yeah.
yeah, uh, I really like this actor as well. I think he's doing a good job. I don't praise the good guy actors enough. It seems I seem to praise like Waldrig and Hal and the guy playing Sauron and all this stuff. So I want to praise some of the good guy actors. Oh yeah, I also praise like the Durin the Third.
Well, you really praise Elendil too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I really do like Elendil. So yeah, okay. Here's another good guy actor that I'm gonna praise. I like this certain guy.
I think you praised oh, why does his name escape me? The bad guy, the political guy in Numenor.
Farazan.
Pharazôn.
Yeah. So I got a lot of villains. I'm trying to get more
Oh
here.
right, Pharazôn's a villain, right.
I have because a lot of these guys playing villains, they are giving their performance a bit more depth because they know
I mean,
they're not.
this is another aside. Did you catch the after episode 3 they did like a little like talk show thing after?
I didn't watch it. I've seen clips of it. I didn't actually watch it
Okay,
because I
so
didn't know what was gonna.
it actually came on for me on autoplay after I watched episode 3. And it's kind of funny because all these actors are like really into their characters,
Yeah,
and like they straight up like have adopted the character's mindset. Like Pharazôn, the guy playing Pharazôn legit talked about Pharazôn as though like he gets a bad rap, he's actually a good
yeah,
guy.
yeah. No, and okay, but this.
And same with Isildur sisters, like
Mm,
she's doing the right thing. She's not betraying her family. Her father betrayed her.
right. No.
I'm like,
That's exactly
really?
right.
These are bad These are bad guy characters, and you've like embraced it.
No, but that's exactly okay. But the actors playing that, that's why I think they sometimes do a better job than the heroes. The heroes know they're the hero of the story, and so they one-dimensionally go like, I'm the hero here. I'm gonna be doing good all the time. Whereas the villains, when you're playing a villain, you have to put in some subtlety that your character thinks they're right, even though you're about to do something bad. And I think that complexity is more honest and accurate to like people in the real world, and that's why I I think I find them more interesting to talk about. I mean, like that's why I really like talking about Boromir. Not that he was a villain, but he had complexity to his character. Whereas someone like Legolas, there's not a ton there. He's just a hero elf, right? Like it. I know there's more to him, and him and Gimli's relationship is a big part of it. But in terms of like how they interact with other characters in the Fellowship and how they interact with other people in the world, like Boromir, he is struggling with things, and we see that in flashbacks. We see that when he's talking to the council and when he's talking to Frodo. So I think those moments are way more emotionally impactful because of what the actors are doing versus just a hero doing hero things. But I also will say, like, Vigo doing Aragorn also puts in that complexity because Peter Jackson added this awesome idea that Aragorn was a reluctant king. So it gave Vigo something to draw on to be like, I'm not
Yeah.
just gonna be, because in the books he is just I'm gonna be king, and like it's kind of simplified. And then Sam as well. Sam, he's a cowardly hobbit gardener, and he has to become the true hero that Middle Earth needed. And all those things make those heroes so much better than some of the heroes we get in not just Rings of Power, but a lot of other things. Like even this new House of the Dragon show. And even The Boys sometimes screws this up. I know people love The Boys, so do I, but there's some issues with some of their characters too. Here, we don't get a ton. Like, I like a lot of these actors and what they're doing, but I don't really get the complexity. But this Suridan guy, he actually has some complexity there, because he's playing this elf that is so much older than almost everyone else, and he is kind of almost struggling with the elf identity, and you know what his purpose is and all this kind of stuff. And he doesn't like just go on a huge talking spree about it, but you can kind of see it in how he talks to Elrond and how he interacts with the people and objects in his environment. Like, this actor's doing a great job, and so that's why I wanted to give him some credit. I don't know how much he's going to be in it, and I don't know if anyone's talked about this, but it's okay that he has a beard.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
It's actually fine. This is lore appropriate. I looked it up for this stupid video. So elves have 3 stages of growth. When they're initially born, they go through their first stage, their first age, and then that's when they are really young, like we saw in Galadriel's flashback in the first season. And then when they get to about 100 years old, that's when they look middle age, or like 20 something, or like how we see Galadriel, Elrond, even Gil-galad kind of looks young, and they kind of stay in that young-ish look for a long time, and that age can take anywhere from hundreds to thousands of years. Really, what happens is you reach there's a massive impact on your life at some point down the road, and that transitions you to your 3rd old age elf. Those are the only ones that can grow beards.
So he's just, being by nature of being the oldest elf, he's like just one of the few that's reached that stage.
That's right. So something tragic happened that forced him to enter the old age stage. He can now grow a beard, and so that it's completely fine that he has one. And this is important because famously, you know, Aragorn wasn't able to grow a beard because he had a bit of elf blood. I'm fine Peter Jackson changed it. I don't care that much about that kind of lore. That's kind of silly to talk about, but I just wanted to say it here because I know people on YouTube like to get sucked into these kind of debates about whether or not you can have beards or beardless characters, and to me that's not that important.
So Elrond is like technically Aragorn's like many greats uncle.
Yes.
So Arwen's his Arwen is his cousin.
All right. Yeah, you went down the family tree rabbit hole of.
I mean, it's fine.
I know.
I mean, I'm not judging cousin marriages, but
they can just move to Alabama or something.
And, like, it's strange in our cultural context, but I mean, it's normal in the Middle East. It's normal amongst royalty.
I will say also, I mean, I know you're equating it to real world concepts. I don't think it's okay in those concepts, but what I will say is with an elf, because they're immortal and their family tree is kind of weird and wonky, in a way, I don't think Aragorn and Elrond view themselves as family in terms of like being born of the same group. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, they're related, but they're related in one is I mean, they call him Elrond half Elven, but one is half Elven and immortal, and one is a small part elf, not immortal, but just has a longer lifespan.
I know, but just that he is a direct descendant.
He is
of his brother.
That's
so
true.
It's like there is like oh yeah, you're Elros's great grandson.
Yeah, that is true. But I think because of how further along that is in the time span, like there's almost no commonality between Aragorn's blood and Elrond. It's been so many generations for Aragorn, whereas Elrond has been just his daughter, his immediate daughter. So I do view that a bit differently. because it's a magical, immortal elf creature. But I see what you're saying, yes, and I'm sure people are gonna pick that out if they pay attention. I will say a lot of casual fans aren't gonna notice that. I watched this with a casual. Oh, I say casual fan. I watched this with someone who is lukewarm on the original trilogy and doesn't like the show at all, and is
Yeah.
I say casual because they watch it with me and they like some parts. They like hating some characters and they like the relationships with some other characters, but they're not really paying attention to like, oh look, we saw a little snippet that Elrond's brother is the father or like the great great grandfather of Elendil, and that person is like the great 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 like 10 greats or whatever grandfather of Aragorn. Like they don't really put that together.
Yeah, but I feel like if I had a great uncle that was 1,000 years old, I'd still be like, oh, that's my uncle.
I think
And
I think so too.
I'd still call him Uncle Elrond or something.
I think so too, and I think that's partly why Aragorn was taken in by Elrond. So like there is some familiarity there. I just think in terms of being weary of like the bloodlines and having
I
some
don't know if
issues.
people care about that. They don't even a lot of people don't even care about that today. So I don't know.
Well, that's all I care about. Anyway, yeah. So let's see. So yeah, we got Elrond trying to dump these rings off into. Okay, so I guess we got to talk about this because this is actually, I cannot believe they talked about this in the Rings of Power. So the very idea here is Elrond has come to Círdan. How do we pronounce that?
It might be Círdan.
Yeah.
It's probably a hard C.
Yeah, Círdan. And the idea is, okay, we've got these potentially. Oh, he doesn't explain it exactly, but but the idea is we have an issue where these magic rings or this object in this bag I have might be corrupted. We don't know. And I think it's bad that for the elves to use it, even if it means the survival of our race. And so Círdan suggests maybe we dump it in the middle of the ocean.
I think it's like a fault line between two. It's like tectonic plate stuff going on here.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
But the problem is, this is a very big, not a plot hole, but this is something that people will bring up for the original trilogy. How come no one thought of this when they were saying, what do we do about this magic ring? And Elrond goes, we must bring it to Mount Doom. Well, now we see Elrond.
Can it only be destroyed in Mount Doom? Like could you destroy the ring and the one ring in this fault line, or does it?
They weren't going to the idea isn't that they're going to destroy it. They're just going to drop them in there and they'll never be found because nobody can get down that far. Is my understanding, but you're right. If it does destroy it,
I was under the impression that it destroyed it because it's so hot.
Oh, I see. No, I thought it was just it's going to be lost at the bottom of the ocean, and we haven't created the technology to go down that far yet, so no one can get down there.
I think Spaghetti Monster could.
Well, I know, but we're the audience. We know about Spaghetti Monster. I don't know if the elves know of Spaghetti Monster, and this is why I wish we didn't know of Spaghetti Monster. But now that we know of Spaghetti Monster, it brings there's a lot more questions I have about Sauron, but I digress. So my point is, Elrond has already had this exact conversation about magic rings, and a wise old bearded elf said, "Let's drop it in a fault line in the middle of the ocean." Cut to him in Fellowship saying, "No, we can't do any of that other stuff. We have to bring it to Mount Doom." Well, why is this? I would have thought Elrond would suggest this very thing. It's super easy to get to. Like, you just board a ship at the Grey Havens, sail out there, and drop it in. Now,
yeah,
maybe he thought no one could do. Maybe he saw the way Círdan reacted to just the elf rings and was like, "Oh, no living mortal can drop these rings into the ocean." But then, who's going to be able to drop it into Mount Doom? Like, it's the same problem. Who's going to have the willpower to let go of this ring? So that I'm now kind of confused. I wish they didn't include this idea. Maybe it's canon. I don't know. I don't like it in this show because we go by the Peter Jackson canon here.
Right, but I think, I think these rings could be destroyed by just a lot of heat because they weren't forged in Mount Doom. They were forged in Celebrimbor's workshop.
I see. So here they thought it was actually going to destroy them, and Elrond knew the One Ring could only be destroyed in Mount Doom, and so no point dropping it in this fault line. Eventually, it's going to be found at the bottom of the ocean.
Yes,
okay.
Official.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that's sort of how I get around it, but I just think it's odd to include this when this is already like a topic of debate. Like literally, you could go to YouTube and you can type it in, and you'll find other Lord of the Rings channels talk about this very issue of why didn't they just throw the ring in the ocean, because no one wants to carry it around, it's too dangerous, and Sauron might get it. Now the worst thing is a fish gets it or something, and then someone's like, no, an octopus might get it, and then the octopus would like go on land and give it to like. I don't really understand how this ring works, because that doesn't seem to be how it works. But anyway, I digress. We're getting sucked into it. So this is the plan. Círdan's going to bring the ring out of the ocean and drop it into the water. And unfortunately for him, he has the same issue that Isildur will have in a millennia, or not a millennia, in a couple hundred years or something.
Yeah, but I think we cut to Gil-galad before that happens.
Oh, true. There's that quick little cut to him.
So he talks about sending a messenger to Celebrimbor to inform him that Halbrand is Sauron.
Yeah.
And there is no explanation for why Galadriel did withheld that. Is there? Like, what?
She was embarrassed. She was
embarrassed, but that's so selfish.
She's a selfish, horrible elf, and I struggle to watch the original trilogy to this day now because of how horrible she's been to the elves. I can't believe Elrond and her have a huge falling out here. Unless they really bridge this up in like season 5 or earlier, their relationship makes no sense in The Hobbit or elsewhere. Like it's now weird to me that they don't hate each other more. Of like,
oh well, they'll explain this. Like they're gonna bond again.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Gil-galad and Galadriel are talking. They're talking about how they're aligned for this, but he's not happy with her for awakening Sauron.
Yeah.
And Galadriel deduces that Elrond must be talking to Círdan because Círdan because he's gonna want to go to someone really wise to figure out what's going on. Someone that would even sway Gil-galad because he's so wise. Mm-hmm. And Círdan's the only one.
There must be more, but Círdan is probably closer, and he has a boat, which maybe Elrond was thinking at the very least I can grab a boat and bring these rings somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird moment also because Gil-galad refers to Galadriel, I believe, as the general of the Northern armies here. No, sir, that is incorrect. You have removed that title from her when you sent her to Valinor, and then she betrayed you and committed high treason against the elves, bringing like
he gave it back to her, maybe, I don't know.
Right. I mean, I am slowly falling down the pipeline of these crazy YouTubers where like some of these things are just driving me nuts. Why can't we have some true like drama here between her and the king? Why is he not more upset with her? And at the very least treating her with suspicion that she can't be trusted.
Like, I mean, you're right. This is one of the things where, you know, the people are gonna jump on this. The people that want to take down the show, because they what they're doing here is he he needs her. That's the problem. He can't figure out this Círdan thing on his own. That's where
Yeah.
Elrond went. He needed Galadriel to
Oh
do
man.
it.
Yeah.
so so that's the implication, is that he's keeping her around because he needs her. It's
Yeah.
like what's damn it, Callahan, like a Dirty Harry things, like he's
Oh yeah.
he's not
He's the chief of police, and
he,
she's Dirty
he
Harry.
he disobeys all the time. He's horrible, but we need him.
Honestly, if they threw in a scene where she walks in, he's writing at his desk, and he does that, like, damn it, Galadriel, you're a loose cannon. I want you to turn over
your badge.
turn over your general badge and sword. You're off this case, and have her like kind of walk towards the door and turn around and say no, and then just like run out. I would be more on board with that. But like, he's not even he's not upset as much as the chief of police was in Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry makes sense. He's mad, but he's like, I don't know, police unions or something. I can't fire you. But like, we don't get that moment here. There's no like. Okay, here's all I'm asking for. Elrond is kind of doing it. He's carrying a big load here, but like, people need to be mad at Galadriel for what she's done. She hasn't been properly punished for her actions, and what's gonna happen is she's gonna be accused of being a Mary Sue. Like, you know, she can do whatever she wants. No one cares. Like, it's a disservice to the character. Give the character, like, she's really screwed up, and make her work to rectify it. Right now, she's been given such an easy, nothing task to, like, get back in the good graces. All I have to do is go get Elrond and get these rings back. Like, no, she needs to make amends to everyone, from Elrond to Gil-galad to Celebrimbor. Like, everyone needs to be apologized to, and she needs to do something for them to make it right. And that makes the character more likable to me in the future. I just don't like Galadriel still. She still hasn't done anything to make amends.
Right. Yeah, and like, yeah, we didn't even talk about this, but like, everyone is so on board with these rings except Elrond.
Now, to be fair, they are spectacular looking rings. Like, as both Celebrimbor and Círdan have noted, these rings are perfection in a world of imperfection. And the fact that elves were able to forge these rings is a true testament to their status amongst the gods and all this stuff. So I kind of like this idea that even the elf rings are like not corrupting, but in a way they've like they override every possible like negative possibility that they might bring about. Because Círdan, a wise bearded third stage of life elf, is also enchanted by these rings right away without even looking at them. Just simply like in the bag, he's kind of enchanted. Now, luckily, a little gust of wind like topples him over.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Like, did bubbles come up, or like,
yeah, see, this is
a
again
whale
like
bumped him, or
they don't need that. All you need to do is have him take a peek. You know what I mean? Like, he's about to drop them. He puts them out into his hand to drop them or whatever, and he just sees them and goes, I can't drop these. They're magnificent. And then that's it. Like, that, it's done. I don't know why we need the whole show of like, oh, he got tipped. He's an expert sailor. He didn't get tipped over like that. Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, you're right. Gil-galad and Galadriel are on the same page now. They're gonna hunt down the traitor Elrond and see. No one refers to these people as traitors either. I would like that a lot more. Gil-galad just start brandishing this word around. You're a traitor, and you're a traitor, and you're all traitors. And but yeah, so they gotta go hunt down Elrond, and unfortunately for Elrond, so Galadriel and Elrond have a little moment, right? So, or is that's slightly later? Yes, first Círdan.
Well, yeah, no. Gil-galad wants to like forcefully like go into that.
Yeah.
Círdan's house, and Galadriel's like, "No, no, let me go in and talk to him." And she goes in and talks to him. Then we have "What time do you think we have?" line that they took, and Elrond had already given the rings to Círdan. He was already out at sea to go throw them away. So that's what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually don't mind this scene. I think this scene's actually done decently. Like, this is where you actually see emotion from both. Like, Galadriel's struggling with stuff, Elrond is struggling with stuff. So again, when the actors were given a chance to let their character have inner struggles and they're trying to work through their problems, it gets you a good scene. And I just wish they would allow them to do this more.
Yeah.
I think we actually cut back to the stranger in Nori after that, right? I think that's...
Yeah, he's setting up a tripwire to catch who's following him, and it's Poppy.
Yeah. What a awesome fake out. I honestly, I'm not upset. I kind of did like Poppy.
Yeah, we need our Sam. Frodo won't get very far without Sam.
Exactly. And I really do hope that we get that similar twist of Poppy having a much larger impact than just being there for comedic value at first. So I really hope they go through with that. We actually have some quick cuts, because we jump back, we meet Poppy again, then we cut back to Círdan, who's about to drop the rings in, and then the gust of wind or whatever stops him, and then he decides he can't do it. And then we cut to Sauron, Halbrand, and Adar.
Well, I think there was a reveal that they've been walking in circles and they haven't gotten very far.
Oh, is that where we had the reveal? Okay, yeah.
And the walking song is actually a map that gets them through the...
Oh yeah, that's right. Now, in a way, okay, so if we're right and that the land is enchanted, which I like that explanation. I'm not hating on it. That means that Gollum figured it out, which is kind of a neat idea, right? So Gollum was able to, on his own, figure out the magic of this land and like the steps you have to take to get through it. And it's kind of a neat thing to think about, because that is something I could see a Gollum creature doing. It's like stumbling into like these like weird like trails that are like shortcuts. Like, he just seems to like have that knack to him. It's almost like there's almost like a luck to it. He's able to escape from certain things, and he finds these other paths, and like somehow he got out of Moria alive without getting killed. Like, he's got a knack for getting through these like really like no one else could get through that by themselves. Like, you throw like any random person from Fellowship into Moria by themselves when all that shit's going down, they're dead. But Gollum somehow sneaks his way through. It's kind of crazy. So I like that idea that Gollum like figured out the shortcut magic thing through this land and how he's able to get through it. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, then we cut to Adar and Sauron talking again, and this is where Adar, I don't think he's getting like, he is obviously getting lied to and tricked, because this is Sauron here, but I don't think that the character of Adar is getting like mind controlled or like corrupted. I think he just genuinely wants to deal with Sauron once and for all, and if there's even a remote chance that Sauron is still alive, he wants to know about it, so he's willing to go along with this plan. The plan is kind of weird, though.
I mean, Adar does reminisce. He reminisces. I think he's one of the 13 original orcs manipulated by Morgoth.
Yeah.
And he tells a story about how he met Sauron on a dark, nameless peak, and then Sauron offered him red wine, and then he drank the red wine. So there's some dark, nameless peak thing going on here.
Oh, and and that actually, that literally just triggered it. I'm just coming up with this now on the spot. You're right. So he reminisces about that, but that also implies that Adar at some point might be more easily controllable, because Elrond tells us like once you've let him in, you're more susceptible to it. which is why Galadriel doesn't join the Fellowship. You know, that's actually kind of brilliant. I'm not
So
gonna lie. So
so Adar is easily manipulated by Sauron because
yeah, so we might even see him join up with Sauron, like for
I
all
mean
I
that's
know.
a pretty serious power.
Yeah.
Like,
Once you accept like a gift from him or something like that, you're like under his control in a way.
and like even if it's under the pretenses of him pretending to be a good person, like there's a lot
Yeah.
of people I've probably trusted before.
I've given a lot of stuff
I'm
to
a
people.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a trusting person. I would definitely be manipulated
Yeah.
by nice guy Halbrand.
Oh, for sure. I I'm not going full Waldrig here, but yeah, I think I would definitely if I was one of those random peasants in that village, and all of a sudden this handsome looking dude shows up with the king's crest, and he's our new king, I'd be like, that's Halbrand the king. Let's go. And I would follow him into battle, and then now I'm part of Sauron's group. Now we're evil. Damn it!
I trusted him. Now he controls me.
Yeah. Damn it! How did this
Forever.
happen? But yeah, so that's actually a neat idea, and I will say the new actor playing Adar is doing great. He he looks so similar, and his
Oh yeah,
mannerisms are there.
seamless transition.
Honestly, people don't even know unless
Yeah.
they've like looked into this. They don't even know it's a different actor. Great job in the makeup department. Great job as that actor, like really tapping in. Like he basically was like, I'm gonna try to be that same character. I'm not gonna change it and be like I've gone through a transform. No, he is that same Adar, just a little bit more evil, which is more of a writing thing than the actor.
Yeah.
But this
So
plan is kind of scuffed, right? Like it's so we're gonna release the king of the Southlands, who's gonna go to the elves, and then tell us where Sauron is. Right, right? Like that's the plan.
yeah, he's told Adar that Galadriel and Sauron are collaborating to take out Adar,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And so, but his plan, instead of just like having Adar maybe torture him some more or whatever, the plan that Adar agrees to is we will release this guy. He's gonna go to the elves with somehow get Sauron alone or like find out his whereabouts so Adar can go get him, like
Yep.
go kill him. To me, that is kind of a weird plan, but I kind of go along with it. I don't hate it as much as I've hated other plans before in this show, so I'm fine with it a little bit. It just seems odd to me that that Adar agrees to that.
Yeah, and then they have the kind of the goofy thing where you have to swear allegiance, and he says, "I swear allegiance to the Lord of Mordor."
Yeah, I know.
And he's like, "I didn't lie."
No, I know, and
I didn't lie.
friends of mine that watch this show because I force them to, even they were like, that's like a wink to the audience. Like he's looking like dead into the camera. Obviously he's not like breaking a fourth wall, but it almost does because he's looking like at the camera and he's like, yes, I pledge allegiance to the true Lord of Mordor or something. It's like, oh, come on, what are you talking about? Adar's right there. There's no way Adar and Waldrick let that go. Waldrick especially.
Adar and Waldrick are like, okay.
All
Why
right.
did you phrase it that way?
Yeah, no one has ever phrased it in such a way.
And who are you winking at?
Yeah. Who's over there? um so yeah, that happens. Like literally, I have this screenshot pulled up. He is looking into the camera. There's a boot on the ground on the left of this screen. I'll put it in the video. There's a boot on the ground. He's looking dead into the camera as he says it. It's just like, honestly, good job for the actor for being able to deliver it like it's delivered fine. It's just the line is obvious and it's kind of a little wink wink, like I didn't truly pledge allegiance to Adar. But yeah, so that's the plan. We get a little bit of then Waldrig obviously potentially dies right after that. And we do get like some interesting. I don't know if it's right here, but I'm just gonna talk about it here, I guess, because at least this is where I thought it was. So the orcs and Adar, they do have a pretty comfortable relationship, but it does seem like there are not full-on breaks, but like strands of potential issues that the orcs might have. Like they still like Adar, but Adar doesn't tell them everything. And you know what? Like I think there's that scene where the orcs are like, "Is it possible that Sauron is still alive? You told us he's dead." And then,
Yeah, I know that is I think that's the next episode.
oh,
But
okay,
yes.
okay. So yeah, I'm jumping ahead. So yeah, we'll get to that.
But
So
you're right. Yes.
there is
Yeah,
definitely some potential strands or threads of fracturing within the orc society that might come into play. That's all I'll say on that.
So I mean, the issue is that like it's kind of, I mean, we're also jumping ahead, but the idea though is that the orcs under Adar are actually kind of that they're on their own volition, but there's some implication that when Sauron gets the ring, he's actually because remember Círdan was like controlling those fish with
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes.
so there's an implication that orcs are actually, their minds are being enslaved by the ring.
Well,
And
and I think lore-wise, I don't know if they actually talk about it in detail in any of them, but this is one that I did look up, which is like orcs were created for evil, so it's not like they were just a peaceful race of mythical creatures that were enslaved. Like they were designed to be evil soldiers. And so they must be more like when they're let free to roam, they kind of just become savage, like wild animals almost.
yeah,
And then
like
when they
think of the Zerg without an overmind.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's a great way of doing it. And so we're gonna get into some tricky things. People have joked about this in the past, like, oh, does that mean like Aragorn exterminated all the orcs and whatnot? That's not a very peaceful king. I actually don't know what he would do with the orcs because, again, the orcs, they're not a normal, they're not a race of Middle Earth that has always been there. They were brought in to destroy. That's their purpose. And so when they're running around, on their own whim, there's still a threat to whatever towns they're nearby. Like they just
I mean, I'd think about it this way, like, I think you can be sympathetic, but to like you're sympathetic to the fact that these are like manipulated creatures. Like they're already dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like killing your zombie friend.
Yes.
Your friend's already dead.
Yeah.
That's just the zombie.
Yeah, and you get those awesome moments in zombie films where like the person's like, no, that's my friend out there, and the other guy's like, that's not your friend. Your friend's already dead. And then like you got some awesome drama there. Yeah, it's exactly right. And so I don't know how much they're gonna lean into like, oh, the orcs are just normal people or normal.
Well, they
race.
had the. That's also the next episode.
Yeah, we're getting ahead. Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole orc thing. We'll jump back to the.
I thought it was cute, so I'm okay.
We'll get there. First, we're gonna jump back to the elves, and their tree is all but destroyed. It's about
They're
to
singing. Gil-galad's singing about needing to go back to Valinor.
Yeah, no, real quick.
Círdan returns just in time.
Yeah,
wearing one of the rings.
Real quick about this singing. I made a note about this, and again, I like, for some reason I have these wacky nitpicks that just they're in my mind and I can't help. So when in Fellowship, there is actually a lot of background singing in certain parts of the movie. Heck, throughout the entire original trilogy. One that comes to mind is when Boromir is dying, and Aragorn is over top of him, and he's giving him his sword back, and Boromir saying like, "You're my captain, my king," all that stuff. Great scene, tears every time. Heck, just thinking about it, I'm kind of welling up here. But there's background singing that's happening there. There's no closed caption. There's no, like, you don't know what they're singing. It's a little Easter egg that if you like listen to it closely and you read the books, you'll be able to know that it's a song that the elves sing and all this kind of stuff. Really cool Easter egg for people. I think that's a neater way to bring in this awesome elf singing. I don't know if we need the lines here. In fact, the lines kind of match up with the visuals anyway. I think it's more powerful to have no words on the screen and just have the singing. I know it's a nitpick, but this is just...
Oh, you mean don't subtitle it?
Don't subtitle it. Literally just have the elf singing. It's beautiful, by the way. But don't tell us what they're singing about. And if people want to know, there's going to be YouTube channels and there's going to be write-ups about it. I think it's just better as a visual storytelling technique to have the beautiful sound and the images, and then have people discover, oh, when they were saying the elves, something about the leaves are falling in the stream, and you show that on the screen, you don't have the words, just have the image, and then it's a really cool thing for people to discover. That's my own little thing. I know it's a nitpick, but I think Peter Jackson nailed it with not like forcing everyone to know how much background stuff he put in, and let people discover it as they experience it. But you're right. Círdan shows up last second, and just before the last leaves have fallen, and has decided that these rings are too perfect to destroy.
Yeah.
He almost feels corrupted. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I know, Elrond, you told me that these are dangerous and that maybe the Dark Lord made them and corrupted them. But look how pretty they are. We can't kill these things. And I'll have one, by the way. As the oldest and wisest of the elves, I will take one. And oops, I dropped one. And Galadriel, you can have that.
Fix it up.
And Gil-galad, as king, I obviously get one. So sorry, Elrond, no ring for you yet. You'll have to wait your turn for your ring. Okay. Little spoiler for people. It's not even a spoiler. There's a fun fact that I get to say when I'm watching this with someone who doesn't know what's going on about the rings. But I already knew where all the rings were. So, like, the fake out of whether or not they will be thrown away doesn't work on me. And so...
Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously we know that.
Yeah, like, I know exactly where every single one of these rings are. I kind of forget their names, but I know who has whose ring, right? So, Galadriel still has her ring. Gil-galad gives his ring to Elrond eventually, and Círdan gives his ring to Gandalf. All three rings are accounted for. They're still all in operation in Middle-earth to this day. Or to the day... Well, I said this day, but to the day of the original trilogy happening, whenever that happens, that they're still in existence then, as they are now. So the whole ring fake-out was never going to work on people who knew what was going on. And this is the other problem. They do fake-outs of things that... for the fans, there's nothing to be faked out here. It's kind of like Gandalf's death. If that's your whole big, like, oh, look how awesome this plot is, it's not going to work on the people who read the books. It worked on me as a 10-year-old. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. They just killed off the most powerful dude. That's insane. And then he comes back, and oh my god, he's back. Like, it's amazing. But it's not going to work for the people who read the book, so you need more to it. And here, we're not getting, like, this whole ring dilemma. We know they wear the rings. So they spend a bit
and we know they actually aren't corrupted.
We also know they're not corrupted and that Elrond is wrong. Yes. So again, this whole big fake out, I know people aren't all up to speed on the rings, but it seems weird to put so much effort into that subplot when I care a lot more about the other rings, because we know what happens to the human rings, which I'm really interested to see how they pull that off. That'll be really fun. The dwarf rings, I'm actually kind of confused about the dwarf rings. I could look it up. I choose not to until some lore thing pops up on my YouTube and then I learn about it. But I am curious. So I'm going to go into the dwarf rings blind. I will see how it all happens, as if I'm a casual fan.
I mean, one of them came up in The Hobbit, didn't it?
I believe one. I believe yes. I believe there's. I think they even mentioned like
Is it
Gandalf knows where
Thorin's-
like 2 or 3 of them are, or something like that.
Forgetting The Hobbit now. Is that Thorin's dad that they're rescuing from that castle?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, he had one of the rings.
And now Thorin has it, or is that ring gone?
I don't know if it got lost.
Yeah.
there,
So
but
Gandalf
but-
says a lot of them are lost. So
But I
don't-
think in The Hobbit they said that was the only one that was still accounted for.
Oh, so yeah, there you go. So that's what I mean. Like, I don't know anything about the dwarf rings, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get to experience it.
I believe the dwarfs were like the corruption didn't work, like they were resistant to it.
Well, yeah. So my understanding is So I think they talk about this in.
So that means maybe for all we know,
No, we know the humans get corrupted, so we know what
but
happens.
it's interesting. What if the elf rings are corrupted, but they just don't work? They're not corrupted enough. Like
Yeah,
like
no,
it's with the dwarfs.
You're right, and that might be what's happening here. It is interesting to think about that, because it does seem like Sauron had some hand in it. I know he didn't get to do what he eventually does, but
He didn't handle it directly. Yeah, I think I went back. They don't create the rings until Halbrand's already run off.
that's right. He just taught them
Yeah.
the methods, and so
Yeah.
it does seem like he didn't have an influence on them, because we see how he influenced it. I mean, we're getting that.
And the new one, he's the one who like mixes it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's later though.
Yeah, so like that. Yeah, we're right here at the end though, because so the elves are saved because they have the 3 rings. There's a power in 3, and Halbrand has returned to Eregion, and everything fades to black, and we're done the episode.
All right.
So yeah, okay, final thoughts on the first episode. I know it was released in a batch of 3, so we are gonna do another video on that, but just on this one episode as it stands by itself, your thoughts.
I mean, I was entertained. Yeah, I thought the flow was good. I mean, there's always goofy bits, but I'm okay at shutting that down and enjoying the show.
Yep. So for me, so there's a lot. They are playing catch up a lot in this episode. They're showing us flashbacks, and they are essentially, like, we already know they created the rings. They almost created a subplot to just have this episode have elves have conflict and then have the ring. I literally thought the elves would just accept the rings. I didn't think there would be this whole Elrond running off with them. So, as far as like fun drama goes, it's decent. Yeah, that's it for this one. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments below, and let us also know, did you binge all 3 at once, or did you take your time and watch them at separate seatings? Because I think binging them, they kind of can clump together. That's where we mention things that happen in the next episode, because I did binge 1 and 2, and so it almost feels like one episode to me, and I forget where the break point is, but the break is here when Halbrand / Sauron shows up at Eregion, and he hasn't even, like, there's no dialogue. He just rides his horse up to the gates, and that's it. So I forgot that. I thought there was more interaction with him and Celebrimbor. But yeah, stay tuned for episode 2, and we'll be right back.